Hello, everyone. So this time around, you're only gonna see me talk because Breakout and Boot Hill doesn't really have that much of stuff. So we're just gonna read through it. So these are the pictures. I'm gonna scroll down so I can read the whole entire thing. There's so Breakout was originally dated on 1976. Platform varies. Developer Atari and genre action. So it's an action game. Nearly 4 decades on the on and video games still regularly draws inspiration from Atari's formative pro blockbuster arcade game. In a very real way, Breakout defines the proto vocabulary of its medium, taking the paddle and ball and Pong's reductive approximation, approximation, I think it is, of table tennis and repurposing it into something unique. Novels and novel and only possible in a video game. So it's like Pong, except for it's like you're trying to break blocks. Con- Conceptualized by Atari founders. Man, I'm having some problems with my fucking vocabulary. Nolan Bushnell and one of the company's most influential engineers, Steve Bristow. The top three of breakout screen is lined with bricks. You bounce a ball off these bricks to make them disappear, one by one, catching the ball on its rebound with a sliding paddle, prevent it from disappearing. Of the bottom of the screen, the skills comes in direction your shots in such a way as to hit the remaining bricks at the top of the screen. Scaling up from Pongs need to simply hit the ball to take into greater account the angle at which you strike it. Walls to must to which you strike it. Okay, there's a period. I went to keep on talking like a stupid jackass. So yeah. Uh, Sorry, I just ate something. Walls too much be used to bounce the ball around the play area, introducing yet more scope for strategy and showboating. Yeah, being a jackass is more like it. Originally played on a black and white monitor in arcade cabinet screens, had stripped of tinted acetate, I don't know what the hell that word is, applied to give the impression of color. Increased difficulty was to the game by having the paddle shrink to half its size once the ball broken through the top row of bricks and hit top of the play area. I never knew that. I always thought that it was going to be a lot better. The understanding and ignite in engines. I don't know what the word is because apparently I'm too stupid. I was not very good at reading English, so this is kind of gonna give your guys a perspective on how much I read when I was a kid. Both of the core idea and its execution assures that Breakout remains a playable classic to this day. Yeah, especially when there's an Xbox 360 version out there too. There might be more of them out. Excuse me, sorry, I had pupper. One of the cornerstones of the medium of the sports games is influence can be felt in countless contem- contemporary titles from pop caps, pachinko hybrid pegging to cue games reflect missile. I have no idea what the hell that is. So I have played Breakout here and there. It's a good game. I thought it was really interesting. So it's like another way of playing Pong, but it's just like what the fuck, man. Excuse me, my apologies. So our next game is Boot Hill. This is the first game out of the four games that we've talked about that I've never played before. You could argue that Boot Hill is really just Pong redesigned by a John Wayne fan. So what's the concept of this game? Two players take on the role of cowboys on opposite sides of a western backdrop line, which cacti in the odd wagon, just as Atari's landmark bat and ball game. By the way, this was released in 1977. The platform is arcade game, and it was developed by Midway, which I know Midway a lot, and it's a shoot 'em up. So yeah, you can ricochet your shots off the top and bottom of the screen. Yet, unlike Pong, with its famous concise instructions to avoid missing the projectile at all costs, the aim is to dodge everything your opponent fires at you. Yes, so it's the exact opposite of Pong, which you have only with only 6 shots in your revolver and the missile merciless time limit set on the action. The game is surprisingly realistic. How is it realistic? If you look at the fucking picture, it's just two freaking white, like freaking. It's not realistic. It looks like they're drawn on a fucking painting, and it's just two silhouette guys that are white and they have cowboy hats. That's fucking stupid. Where were we? Time limit. The game is just surprisingly realistic. Okay, I just read that. Just in the real life gunfight, you're Tom coming out blasting and unwisely attempting your clip in a flash. There's no reload. So once you run out of bullets, you're pretty much a walking duck. A walking dead duck. That's fucked up. Or taking your time and trying to plug your CPU or human opponent with a single shot. Designed by Dave Nutting as a jazzed up semi sequel to his earlier gunfight 1995. Boot Hill builds on Pong's simply projectile physics and lets you fantasize about becoming a quick draw shooter. Yeah, how fast can you shoot the fucking gun? One of the problems of resurrecting retro coin op games is that you can't always recreate the technical realities of their cabinets. Emotional emulation on the modern PC only goes so far. That is true. Arcade games are really better in arcades instead of emulations. I don't know why. It just is because it feels like more realistic. It's kind of interesting to be honest with you. I get that part. Back in the day, a large part of Boot Hill's attraction came from its cabinet, low-tech approach, which used mirrors, to project its monochrome action into a hand-drawn overlay of a frontier town. Playing without it isn't half as fun, especially since don't get to see Boot Hill itself. Yeah, it's just a privilege. A graveyard where dead players are transported and turned headstones, while a funeral march blasts from the speakers. The graveyard is a cheap trick, yet it does nod to the high stakes it risks in every old western gunfight. Hang, bang, bang, you're really dead. Okay, so I've never played Blue Hair. It looks like a fucking painting. I have played Breakout once before, I believe, and a couple times, but I've never played Boot Hill. Boot Hill looks like two figures standing on a fucking painting. That's all it is. To be frankly honest with you, I've never played it before. I have played Breakout before, but it was more of a modern day. Because I used to play it on the Xbox 360 once or twice, I believe. So there's that. So yeah, I think because the Xbox and put the PlayStation 2, the original Xbox 360, and PlayStation 3 I had these games where you could play a bunch of fucking arcade games, and Breakout was one of them. So that's how I know I played Breakout. So those are the two games that we talked about today. I can't say anything about Boot Hill because I've never played it. So we're gonna see what the next games are. Combat and Space Invaders. I have played Space Invaders before. I don't know what combat is. So we'll see what Space Invaders has for us. So I hope you guys have a nice positive day. Take care and always stay positive.